You play ball like a girl!
The former Petal Panther,
Yes.
former Mississippi State Bulldog,
Yes.
still the absolute badass.
Of course.
Yes. Lexi Malone joining us today. You know, it's funny. When I moved down here, one of the things, you know, most people look at, you know, cost of living, school districts, etc. I just wanted to know one thing. How big is softball here? That's all I cared about. So when I got here and found out about the track record of Kosciuszko High School and the Lady Whippets and then, you know, just the surrounding areas, football, you know, has always been, you know, a very dominant sport. Mm-hmm. But there is just as much attention paid to softball as there is football. And was it like that when you were growing up? And when did you decide this is what I want to do?
So fast pitch didn't come around my area until I was like, I don't know, 12, 13. Mm-hmm. So I grew up playing slow pitch because that's all that was available.
Right.
So it was definitely, you know, on the rise whenever I was
no pun intended.
Up, but it has come so far since I was in high school.
Right.
I mean, the attention to detail in the playing is so much more advanced than whenever I was in school.
Does it make you proud and does it make you smile to see that evolution?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's great for, you know, young girls coming up. I mean, the sport is the fastest growing sport in America. Mm-hmm. And it's to be a part of that early on is honestly an honor. Little
League baseball. Mm-hmm. It's been around since 1939. They now are starting to form Little League softball teams, and they're making them as important as, you know, Little League was. Then, of course, Olympic softball, which, you know, has been around for a while, but now there's professional softball. And one of the things that, I get goosebumps talking about this, one of the saddest things that I've ever seen in my life is watching a senior put her cleats on home plate. And that's it. You know, you never know when it's going to be your last game. Right. You never know when it's going to be your last at bat. But to have the opportunity to take something that you're so passionate about, that you devoted 12, sometimes 14 years to, and have that opportunity to take it to the next level, that's got to be something that you just go, wow.
Right. But because before, the only way to continue was to become a coach. Mm-hmm. That was the only way to be able to continue your love of softball and actually be able to implement it into your daily life was if you became a teacher/coach or went and coached at college. But now you can continue to play even as a professional, and it's monetized, which is always a plus.
That's got to be something that's got to be interesting for you too, because, you know, now with the NILs and things of that nature, they weren't necessarily available when you were playing, were they?
I'm not quite sure. I don't believe so.
To have the opportunity to get endorsements from something that you love at a college level. Yes, you're on a scholarship. Yes, your housing is paid for. Yes, your schooling is paid for. But if you want to go out on the weekend, you need some new clothes. You've got to pick up some new headbands. You know, right. That's on you.
I mean, student athletes are some of the brokest college students, honestly.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and it's sad, but it's true.
It was after I had my knee surgery. I had a knee brace on, one of those, you know, real hard plastic knee braces. I was playing first. Well, there's a pop-up in the infield, and our catcher, she took her helmet off, and she comes running for it, and she dives for the ball, dives straight into my knee, hits her head on my knee brace, and pretty much knocks herself out.
Ooh.
I mean, the lights were on, but nobody was home, you know. I was in pain, and then I had to go gear up, and I had to go catch after having her dive into my knee. So it's a gritty sport.
To me, it's all about the catchers.
I tell my catchers all the time that if you're doing your job correctly, you'll go unnoticed in a game. Yeah. If they're noticing you, that means you're pretty much messing up.
Yeah, that's true, unless the pitcher can't pitch worth a damn, and then you're chasing balls. And your own career had some injuries early on. Mm-hmm. High school and then once you got to college. But let's talk about that.
So the first major injury ever was actually basketball. You know, I played basketball as well. And I would almost say that I loved basketball more than I loved playing softball.
Why?
I'm not sure. Maybe because it was something new to me at the time. And it was something I picked up on quickly. But my freshman year, at Petal is whenever I tore my ACL, my meniscus, MCL, and my knee.
Yeah, you do nothing small, do you? She's like, look, I'm taking out everything. Leave the PCL. I'll get back to that, and the pleca right now. Just tear everything else up.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and that was probably the worst pain I've ever felt to this date.
Yeah,
it was horrible.
No, it's ridiculous. 6 to 8 months recovery on that or longer?
Oh, I don't remember, but I feel like it was longer. I was on crutches for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And, even after you're recovered and you get back in it, you start to favor a leg. And that's why a lot of times if you have an athlete that tears one ACL, they usually tear the other one because of that favoring. Absolutely.
So we had that, and then we get to state, and then...
So whenever I was at Mississippi State, one of my injuries was a meniscus injury. Mm. And then the other one was actually a muscle fascia injury.
Ooh.
So I think it happened in the weight room. I'm not quite sure when it happened. But essentially on my calf muscle, I had my muscle, it's in that sleeve, your fascia.
Right.
That fascia split, and my muscle was coming out of the fascia.
Ooh.
And it was hitting a nerve in my leg, and it felt like I could tell something was wrong. It felt like just a blunt pain every time I would walk, move, and so I ended up having surgery on that as well to repair that fascia.
Mm-hmm. And how long was the recovery on that?
Not as long as a tendon tear, for sure.
Yeah.
It was, I don't know, maybe a couple months recovery for that.
Okay. Well, stick around. Coming up, we're going to talk about how difficult it is because, of course, parents will think their children's the greatest thing since Babe Ruth. It's very select. We're going to find out how your journey was for you and what you're doing now. We'll talk about all that coming up in a few. Mrs. I have a bakery and promised to bring more cookies, but didn't.
1, 2, 3.
The foundation for your daughter's Field of Dreams begins here. Southern Slammerz travelball can plant the seeds to a brighter tomorrow through experience she can learn through competitive, faith-based, fast-pitch softball. It's not just about playing at a higher level. It's about developing skills both on and off the field. Visit them on Facebook at Southern Slammerz with a Z or call 662-418-7722. That's 662-418-7722. So let's talk about going from high school to college.
So I actually was kind of a late to the game. Most people, they were getting talked to when they were a freshman, or there was the interest there. Scouts were coming and watching them. Mm-hmm. But then you can't really commit until you're a junior. Well, it was kind of late in the game for me to decide that I for sure wanted to play in college. So I think that I really started considering it very seriously whenever I was a sophomore. But nowadays you have girls who are in 8th grade. They know that they want to take it to the next level.
It's a funnel that gets smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. Right. So if a parent's listening right now, whether they're in the infield or a catcher, what would you recommend to them in order to get their child to the next level, and then talk about how you made that transition?
Well, just aside from private lessons, and I may break some hearts here, but high school ball is not enough. You're not going to get in front of those scouts just playing at the high school level. Travel ball is essential when it comes to getting in front of scouts. Mm-hmm. And then the organization that you're surrounded with, they need to be a tight organization, as well as they need to be known amongst the recruiters. It's a lot about your ability, but it's also about getting in front of them and who you know, getting into those right channels. In high school ball, you could be the best on your high school team, but if you're not getting in front of recruiters and in front of scouts, in front of these coaches, they're never going to see you.
Right. When you made that transition from high school to college, what adjustments did you have to make to your game?
So I was definitely nervous coming in as a freshman in college, especially going to a Division I school. Mm-hmm. They don't play around there.
I was going to say, that's got to be a big step.
But the travel ball organization that I played for, they did a very good job of preparing us for college. I mean, I didn't live anywhere near the organization. A lot of girls traveled. But when we did get together,
travel ball.
Whenever we did get together on the weekends that we weren't playing, we would run Saturday practice, 8-hour practice. You'd do 4 hours of fielding, defensive work, 4 hours of hitting. And then that Sunday, we do 4 hours of live situation, scrimmage type situations. So, I mean, they were preparing you to be able to transition into college and it be easier than whenever you left out. So they wanted it to be harder in our travel ball organization than when you got to college. They wanted you to come in and say, oh, wow, we're not practicing for 8 hours. This is, this is actually not too bad.
1, 2, 3.
The foundation for your daughter's Field of Dreams begins here. Southern Slammerz Travel Ball can plant the seeds to a brighter tomorrow through experience she can learn through competitive, faith-based, fast-pitch softball. It's not just about playing at a higher level. It's about developing skills both on and off the field. Visit them on Facebook at Southern Slammerz with a Z or call 662-418-7722. That's 662-418-7722. All right, so we were talking about the importance of travel ball, and I know that a lot of parents, especially in this area, especially with Kosciuszko, when you take a look at the surrounding areas, because you're in Ackerman, of course, that's Choctaw County. Of course, you got your Lady Chargers right there. What impressed you most about this area? I mean, because when you take a look at what's around here, I mean, you got some big time high school softball. You got Neshoba Central, Ethel, Kosciuszko. I mean, it just goes from there. But as prepared and as successful as some of the organizations are, that travel ball has got to be there to complement it. I understand that you're affiliated with Southern Slammerz. Let's talk about them and their commitment to their kids and what they're doing to get their athletes ready for the next step.
So pretty recently, I've started working with some of the Southern Slammer girls on a private level, just trying to get to know them more personally and see what I could do to tailor a plan for them to be able to elevate their game to the next level. A few of them play for the Chargers as well, so I like to go watch them play and see my girls play high school and then also play on the travel ball field as well.
How hard is it to keep your mouth shut when you're watching?
Oh, it's pretty hard. Sometimes I don't.
I was going to say, I've been around you. I know you don't.
Sometimes I don't, but I try.
I've never seen anyone take as detailed notes as you do. I mean, I don't know why the hell you're sitting behind home plate. Get your ass out there and coach. I'm serious. Jason Ingram joining us as well from the Southern Slammerz. Jason, with your commitment to the girls that you have, what's it to you to have someone like Lexi being able to come in and work with the girls?
It's absolutely priceless. I've never played softball, BMO, right?
Yeah, no.
Lexi Malone, the great talent that we have, where they've been, the coaching and the skill set that they've been involved in around, during their career, for them to bring that knowledge, to an organization like Slammerz it's priceless.
Yeah. And I'm not saying this to be biased, but you take a look at, someone as talented as your daughter is, BB. It's got to be important to you to be able to have someone like Lexi in your corner that can critique, develop, and then prepare. You can have all the talent in the world, but like she was saying, if there aren't eyes on you, you're not going to be seen.
To break it down into the detail that Lexi's able to do is priceless. I mean, I can't do that, right? I can holler on third base or first base, if we, miss a signal or something.
Right.
But breaking it down is key element, digging in deep, building from the ground up. So
let's talk about some of the things that the Slammerz organization does to get their girls ready for that next level.
We have recruiting camps for our older girls, 16, 18. We want to start that for 14U in the fall. So recruiting management behind these girls. Coaches have recruiting accounts. They're seeing how these girls are communicating with recruiters and colleges. I've been working with players and recruits on girls, going to camps that they're invited to, special invitations. Our older girls play showcase ball. The athlete is communicating with these college recruits and coaches, letting them know, hey, I'm going to be here at this point, at this date, playing in this tournament. Come see me.
Lexi, let's talk about the lessons that you're giving, and then what are some of the things that you work with when it comes to your batting and infield camps?
So I'll be offering hitting lessons as well as catching lessons and maybe even some infield work. But mostly we're going to focus on hitting and catching. For catching, I want the players to learn how to have a presence behind the plate, be a big presence on the field, be confident in what they're doing, as well as, learning our fundamentals, even things as small as getting around the ball when we're blocking to the plate, transferring the ball at our ear and not getting it out of our glove in front of us. The small details that can really make a catcher stand out on the field.
One of the things that I love most about this organization is this ain't daddy ball. We don't play daddy ball here.
And I mean, Jason, he's BB's father, and he is very hard on BB. Yeah. And she even tells me sometimes, he's harder on me than everybody else. And I say, good.
That's the way it should be, yes. But let's talk about those fundamentals and drills.
So fundamentally for hitting especially, I believe that you can, with a fundamentally incorrect swing, you can hit the ball. But it's about consistency. How often are you going to hit the ball? You may hit a decent ball, a decent line drive, a home run even, every now and again. But if your fundamentals aren't sound, you're going to really have to hone in on those if you want to see consistent at-bats. Same thing with catching. Your fundamentals throwing down, they have to be sound or else you're not going to be consistent in your throw downs. You may sail it to the outfield. You may throw it behind your shortstop. Fundamentals are going to be the key to a consistent ball player.
Let's talk about how people can get in touch with you. And I hear that you're going to be offering both indoor lessons and you'll be willing to travel in some cases.
So I'll be primarily at Southern Sports Indoor. I'll be doing my catching and hitting lessons there primarily. If I had to travel, we could talk about that, but primarily that's where I'm going to be at.
Okay. That's located in Ackerman.
Yes.
Right down the street from
West Main Street.
Yes. 1151 West Main Street to be exact. But again, we look forward to that. What are some of the services that Southern Sports Indoor is going to be offering?
So you'll be able to come in and use the batting cages. You'll be able to come in. I believe that there will be a weight room available to the girls and whoever family that wants to join in. We'll do pretty much any kind of lessons working with defensive. I mean, it's just going to be a great all-around place to go because
I hear there's going to be a smooth photographer that works in there too.
I heard that too.
Yeah, and they're going to be offering video for some of the students to take a look at, because that's one of the hardest things is you go in and you work and you're putting the work in. With being able to video that, your coach is going to see that, and they're going to see something you aren't doing because something small.
Some girls are visual learners. They learn best by seeing themselves make the error because they can't feel it because they've been doing it incorrectly for so long. It's just natural.
Before we let you go, we got to give some shout outs because, of course, there's mom and dad, but I mean, there's been a lot of players and a lot of teammates and a lot of coaches. Anybody you want to say thank you to?
Obviously to my mom and dad, Jason and Adele Malone. Without them, I would have never been able to get the experiences and the lessons and the training that I had to go to the next level. Art Powell and Keith Crawford, a couple of my favorite coaches that I ever got to play for. And then, of course, my basketball coach, Chrisla Hershenhan, and she just retired, so congratulations to her, but she really helped me with character development.
I am shocked by one person that was omitted from that list, and that would be Brett Michaels.
Oh, my gosh.
For those of you who don't know, there are many people who can pull off certain looks, but none looks better, not even Brett, in a headband than this woman does.
Oh, my goodness.